It all starts with people. It's bringing on the right people that are going to work hard and build a business under that brand name. And you think of food or hotels. I mean, brand is everything. But what's interesting, Jason, is a lot of these other industries. Now, I'll use insulation as an example. Insulation is a $52 billion a year industry in the U.S. Most people can't name a brand of insulation, and yet there's multiple franchises that operate under that. So it's all about the systems you provide, the marketing, lead generation support, all of the operations. Beauty of a franchise too, it's not just the playbook and the system that, again, it's been proven out elsewhere, and you get large marketing data day one. It's somewhat optimized because they've run this playbook before in other markets. But you also get a community. And oftentimes that gets overlooked. You have a built-in mastermind of other people all around North America running the same business day in, day out, and you're exchanging best practices, learning from each other. So again, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself, to be cliche. And that's not just the support of the franchisor, but also all these other franchises.
Fastlane Founders and Legacy with Jason Barnard. Each week, Jason sits down with successful entrepreneurs, CEOs, and executives and get them to share how they mastered the delicate balance between rapid growth and enduring success in the business world. How can we quickly build a profitable business that stands the test of time and becomes our legacy? A legacy we're proud of. Fastlane Founders and Legacy with Jason Barnard.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another Fastlane Founders and Legacy with me, Jason Barnard, and a quick hello, and we're good to go. Welcome to the show, Jon Ostenson.
Hey, excited to be here, Jason.
Brilliant, wonderful, lovely to meet you. We're going to be talking about hidden franchise Goldmine. When I saw the title, I thought, I'm really not that interested in how to franchise McDonald's or Starbucks or whatever. I don't know if Starbucks is franchise. Wendy's probably is. But that's not what you talk about, is it? Tell me what you talk about.
Yeah, we've got nothing against the food guys. We love them and we need them. But my humble belief is there are easier ways to make money. And oftentimes when people hear the F word franchise, they immediately think fast food. But there's this whole other industry out there, the other half of the market that people oftentimes overlook. And that's franchising. And it includes things like home and property services, health and wellness, categories like kids, pets, seniors. There's so many different types of businesses out there that fall under that franchise umbrella that we see people jumping into right and left, but love educating on that and helping people understand the opportunities.
Did I hear you say singers? Do you mean music groups? No, you didn't say singers. I suddenly thought about all the tribute bands. That's the kind of franchising. I would imagine ABBA tribute bands are a franchising.
Yeah, all the teams in the NFL are technically a franchise as well. So you do see the model play out in a lot of different spaces.
So there are more franchises than we think. And in fact, we were talking just before the show, CaliCube could potentially franchise. And as I was saying, we can talk about that a little bit. I mean, as a service provider, that's franchisable. Whether or not it's a good idea is a different question.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, a lot of things to consider. But if you're a company that's thinking about expansion, then franchising can be a path for consideration. There's a lot of benefits to it. Obviously, there's pros and cons. I mean, you're giving up some of the rights to your brand, but at the same time, you're providing a support system. You can put a framework in place, really put in writing all the expectations you have of franchisees, right? And if they step out of line, then you have the right to step in. But no, it's a way to potentially scale quickly using other people's money and building an empire that private equity may have an interest in one day.
Brilliant. Before we get into that, brand SERPs. So this is your knowledge panel, looking quite good. And what I found interesting there is you've got an illustration as your main photo. We don't see that very often. Google tends to like photos more than illustrations. For Yoast, famously, it used them for many years and then stopped. And for you, it seems to like it.
It wasn't my choice, but if that's what Google chose, then I'll go with it.
Right, you like it?
Yeah, it looks fine. Maybe I'll look better as a cartoon.
Yeah, and this is the traditional search results where you get the knowledge panel, which is an indication of Google's understanding of who you are, what you do, and who you serve. And then we're all, of course, moving over to AI. And this is AI mode, which is the ChatGPT competitor that Google are rolling out quite slowly, but that's a pretty good summary. And what I've found is that the AI mode, generally speaking, is better than the search results. And we obviously help our clients with both of these types of results. But the AI mode, what we're finding is that it's not a question of, is it present? It's, can I make it better? Can I make Google make me appear to be more of an authority and a credible solution within my industry. And that's a lot of fun, chasing the AI to make sure the AI represents you as you deserve to be represented. And being in the Inc. 5000, you deserve to be represented as an important person and an important business. Am I right?
Well, thank you. No, we've worked hard, and really the back-to-back Inc. 5000 recognitions have been a testimony to our clients. We get to work with thousands of individuals across the country, people that are interested in exploring business ownership, and we help them connect the dots and identify the top opportunities in their market. And here's the beauty of it, Jason. It's entirely free to work with us. We simply get a referral fee from the brands on the back end, very much like a real estate broker model, but for franchises.
Oh, okay. So I mentioned before that at Kellycube, I mean, I wasn't thinking as franchise. I was saying, certified partner agencies. Would there be a distinction between a certified partner agency who implements our framework, uses our software, and uses the term Kellycube, the Kellycube process, and a franchise? Is that splitting hairs, or is there an absolute difference?
Yeah, technically, franchise is three things. It's a shared brand. It's you providing a system of ongoing support to others, and then those in turn paying you a royalty or a fee back for that support. So you do have a lot of businesses that are operating as franchises today that don't recognize it. But you also can have licensing arrangements or other things where it may not truly be a franchise.
Right. So some people working as franchises, but they don't realize it. How does that happen?
Yeah, they just kind of set up a model and never realize that they're technically under the franchise rules out there. And the government does a good job of putting rules around it. I mean, business ownership is a big decision; it's a big responsibility, and they want to make sure that you're protected, that you go in eyes wide open. That franchises play by the rules. And franchising is just like any industry. You've got good players, and you've got ones that aren't as good, that don't provide as strong support. And that's where we come in and try to help our clients identify the top ones.
So the key to franchising out is to have amazing support and make sure that everything is clear, everything is processed, and that the rules are very, very clear so you can actually enforce them. Would enforce be a good word, or is that a bit aggressive?
Well, there's a spirit of the law and the letter of the law. So you may need enforcement on the letter of the law, but a spirit of the law, I mean, the better your franchisees do, the better the franchisor does. And so they're incentivized to help them be successful. And so there's a lot of coaching. It's almost like a marriage. When someone buys a franchise, you're inheriting a business partner. So we always want our clients to go in eyes wide open, into that arrangement. But no, it should be mutually beneficial. And, the better you do, the better they do. So you're incentivized to, get up to speed and go grow.
Well, I suppose then the distinction between franchising and licensing out is that the franchisee takes on the brand name. And for licensing out, they keep their brand name and just use your brand name in addition to it.
Largely. I'd say that's one of the, and I'm not an attorney, but I'd say that's one of the main things that differentiates.
Okay, jolly good. I'd understood. We weren't going to franchise. We were going to license out, which isn't the same thing at all. What are the key things to look out for? Because I think the two are quite similar in the sense that if you don't have very solid processes, an incredibly effective playbook, and a means to actually make sure that it's all implemented, you risk throwing your good brand name, reputation down the toilet.
Yeah, it all starts with people. It's bringing on the right people that are going to work hard and build a business under that brand name. And, you think of food or hotels. I mean, brand is everything. But what's interesting, Jason, is a lot of these other industries. Now, I'll use insulation as an example. Insulation is a $52 billion a year industry in the U.S. Most people can't name a brand of insulation, and yet there's multiple franchises to operate under that. So it's all about the systems you provide, the marketing, lead generation support, all of the operations. Beauty of a franchise too, it's not just the playbook and the system that, again, it's been proven out elsewhere, and you get large marketing data day one. It's somewhat optimized because they've run this playbook before in other markets, but you also get a community. And oftentimes that gets overlooked. You have a built-in mastermind of other people all around North America running the same business day in, day out. And you're exchanging best practices, learning from each other. So again, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself, to be cliche. And that's not just the support of the franchisor, but also all these other franchisees.
Right. So there's a huge advantage in that you can rely on other people's experience with exactly the same business, the historical data, and that's very, very powerful. Now, what about the localization, i.e. my town isn't the same as your town. The people in my town don't react the same way the people in your town react.
Yeah, I mean, there's nuances, right? But a lot of digital advertising, you can kind of plug and play and then provide some light customization. So again, you start with the technology stack day one, right? You're able to customize as needed, but at least you have a starting point. You're starting on third base, not totally at home plate, right? And I think the best business franchisees, I mean, ultimately they're business owners. They're involved in the community. They're supporting the Little League baseball team and sponsoring it. They're getting involved in the Chamber of Commerce. They're networking out there, driving some organic lead generation in addition to the paid lead generation, right? That's going to bring down your cost of customer acquisition and really help you, from a profitability standpoint. So no, it's kind of as you're exploring franchises, you want to understand from the franchisor, what are they providing from a support standpoint on the marketing side, for instance? What are you kind of at liberty to do on your end?
Right. So let's put it from the perspective of the franchisor. If you kind of think, well, I have a business model that makes sense to franchise out, what do I need to focus on primarily to make it work?
Yeah, I would say, one, it's got to be a highly profitable business, right? It's got to be something that people want to buy into. Secondly, it's the support. It's having a team in place that's ready to support these franchisees. If you invite a lot of franchisees in and you're not ready to support them, then that's going to create a lot of headaches for you and for them. So I think really being buttoned up on the support side is important. And, constantly innovating, staying at the tip of the spear. I mean, that's what your franchisees are looking to you to do, right? It's not just set and forget, but they want you trying new things. All of a sudden, you have large data from which to operate. You have, more buying potential, whether it be for goods or for services on the back end, that leverage buying potential. There's just a lot of benefit to being larger. So you can be as a franchisee, you can be a small business, but you get the benefits of a large business.
And so from the franchisor perspective, you're saying, well, actually, in truth, we're quite a small business, but thanks to the franchisees, we become a huge business with a lot of leverage.
Exactly.
Right. And your work is more helping the franchisor or the franchisee?
Yeah, I'm really the go-between. So right now, if you're looking to buy a franchise, you can go out there and Google around, but you're going to find everyone putting their best foot forward, and there's just a lot of noise. And I just got back. I was speaking at a franchise conference in Florida last week, and we had 1,000 people there, about 200 different franchise brands. Now I'm interacting with. I'm always at the tip of the spear, working these relationships, getting to the franchisors behind the curtain, understanding what's going on, so that we can help our clients. So, end of the day, if Joe in Dallas, Texas, approached me and said, "Hey, John, interested in buying a franchise," I would get to know Joe a little bit and then bring him the top 10 or 12 opportunities that are available in his market that I think would be a good fit based on what he shared with me, based on what I'm seeing out there in the market, based on what I'm seeing behind the curtain again. And he would choose 3 or 4 to have a conversation with. And then I kind of hold his hand through the discovery process. Again, entirely free to work with us. But what we bring is that subject matter expertise, as well as the relationships. And the fact is, we're seeing more interest in franchising than we've ever seen before. I think for a variety of reasons. I mean,
Google, tell me the reasons.
Google search results are near an all-time high for searching for business ownership. Well, I think AI is coming in, and so I have so many guys in technology backgrounds or consulting that say, "Hey, I see the writing on the wall." I still think there's a COVID hangover. We haven't used that word in a while, but that really triggered a lot of people to start thinking about the career path they're on, and some have dragged their heels, but they're still saying, gosh, I look around, I see friends of mine out on the golf course or taking bigger vacations, have a little more flexibility and freedom. What's the common trait? They're business owners, right? And so a lot of folks have been out there grinding, and they're now poking their heads up and saying, if not now, when? Maybe now is the time there's never a perfect time to buy a business, but maybe now's the time. And they're starting to get educated to, again, that franchising doesn't totally de-risk the proposition, but it largely does versus starting your own business. And they're realizing there are a lot more fields out there outside of food, a lot more ways to become a business owner with that support of a franchise system.
Right. But then, you say playing on the golf course. What I've found as a business owner is that's exactly what I don't get the time to do because I'm working so hard. Is that not the initial kickoff? Oh, incredibly long days.
If business ownership was easy, everyone would be a business owner. And I always joke that I'm the hardest boss I've ever had. I had coffee with a young guy this morning, 27 years old. He's asked me about franchising and business ownership, a guy that I know through my church. And I love giving feedback because I told him when my first period of time when I started my consulting business. I was in the office at 6 a.m. I was grinding. I was putting systems in place. I was building processes. But you know what? Several years down the road, I'm now reaping the benefits. I probably work 20 hours a week in a busy week. I've been able to structure things around so that I'm doing high value activities like joining you on a podcast.
I was going to say, does that count as work? Does this count as work?
I wouldn't count it as work, but in my 20 hours, I would count it. Yes. But so no, you in a W-2, you're grinding, but you're building someone else's empire. When you're a business owner, you're exactly right, Jason. You're grinding, but you're building your own empire. And over time, if you build it well, you can start to pull back on it. And that's the beauty of a franchise system is they're carrying a lot of that support water for you. You're able to eventually put a manager in place to run the business. They're supporting that manager. It doesn't all fall on you to carry the daily support water. So yeah, you're exactly right. It's not turnkey day one. It takes hard work, but it leads to the results that you wouldn't have as a W-2.
Right. Brilliant. And here's a question that occurred to me as you were kind of talking through that is, do I just turn up and say, I want to be a franchisee, give me a list of the businesses I could create? Or do people come to you with an actual idea? I want to be a real estate or burgers or coffee shop, or you're saying look for the business opportunity, not necessarily where your skills lie, because you're an entrepreneur and a business manager, I suppose, rather than particularly having a skill. Sorry, that was a bit long.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean.
say a good way to put it is a lot of people have transferable skill sets, whether it be sales, operations, building a team, finance, things that they can bring into business ownership. The beauty of a franchise system is you don't have to have experience in that industry. And in most cases, they don't. And so you're able to move into a new industry, a new role. But yes, there's skill sets that you bring from your background into it. Most people come to us and say, we have no idea what we want to do. Some say, hey, I kind of like this idea. I kind of like property services. I kind of like B2B services, no employees. Like they'll have some characteristics. 90% of our clients, when they end up purchasing a franchise, it's in an industry that was never even on their radar. So that's what's so much fun in my role, Jason, is I get to expose people to all these different types of business models in other industries. And they start to have these conversations with the companies. And it's like they start to crystallize the characteristics in their mind that they like in a business. And the light bulb goes on to say, they look at their spouse, I never thought we'd be in that industry, but my gosh, that makes a lot of sense.
Right. So is it good to come in and say, well, here's my super duper superpower, which is the best franchise for me?
Sure. I'd say, questions we ask, we want to understand how much time do they have to put in the business? Is their spouse going to be involved? Are they working? A little bit about their background, their community, what they enjoy doing, what they hate doing. So there's a little bit of science, a little bit of art to it. Because I'm also looking at all these different business models and what's needed to be successful in these different ones, which ones are open, which ones are looking to grow in their market, right? And so there's a little bit of connecting the dots on our end, but thankfully we've had an amazing track record and been able to help a lot of people and get to see a lot of case studies that we can draw on now and help our clients.
Right. And you actually came from an Inc. 500 company. You were an executive, if I understand correctly. And I'm trying to figure out whether Inc. 500 to Inc. 5000 is moving down, or because you went from executive to owner, you've moved up. What do you think?
I like to think I moved up. I pinch myself every day that I get to do what I do. And I spent many years in the corporate world, so I can relate to many of your listeners, many of those that we work with. And I had a great experience, very thankful for it. But again, was putting in a lot of hard work, wasn't building my own empire in the way that I wanted to, and or creating the lifestyle and the flexibility that I wanted. So, I chose the hard profession of business ownership, jumped into it, and worked hard early on. And now, I still work hard, but it's all in moderation, and I'm very thankful for it.
I mean, you mentioned earlier on that people are coming to you post-COVID thinking, well, I want to get a new career, I want to be on the golf course eventually. And AI is making a huge difference. Where's all this going? I mean, AI is throwing a lot of kind of our preconceived ideas out the window. In franchising, is that the case or not?
Yeah, it definitely depends by industry, but let's use property services and home services as an example, whether it be restoration, flooring, cabinets. There are a lot of things that they're starting to bring AI into. Again, you get the support of the franchise system because they're test driving a lot of this and rolling it out at scale, but it's around chat bots, it's around lead generation strategies, it's maybe more operational efficiencies, how you route trucks on the back end, let's say. And so I think they're using it, but the beauty of most of the businesses we work with, AI won't replace them. AI is not going to come out and clean your pool or groom your dog or provide in-home senior care to your aging parent, right? I mean, these are real tangible businesses that aren't going out of style. In some cases, they're non-sexy. They're definitely non-trendy. And that's what people want. They want to kind of go back to business 101 because they see AI. They're having to do more with less oftentimes. And I read the Wall Street Journal every day, and every 2 or 3 days, there's an article about CEOs are now becoming even more bold about saying 50% of their workforce is going away. Well, what do you do with that? Does that incentivize you to work hard? No, you start looking around and you say, gosh, maybe I should jump into business ownership, but I don't know what I want to build. That's the beauty, again, of franchising. You come in with the model that's been proven out. There's use cases. It's the product market fit's been established. It's about going out and executing against it.
So generally speaking, franchising, from our perspective, something that's very much in AI is probably not the best way forwards because very few people would want to be involved in that kind of franchise.
Yeah, there's not a pure play AI franchise out there, but you see franchises utilizing AI, in a bigger and bigger way.
Brilliant. Super. Well, thank you so much, Jon. That was delightful. Well, not quite the conversation I expected at the beginning, but once I discovered the difference between licensing and franchising, it was all about franchising. Thank you so much, Jon. Thank you, everyone, for watching. You get the outro song. A quick goodbye to end the show. Thank you, Jon.
Your corporate and personal brands are what Google and AI say they are. We can give you back control. CaliCube.